Improving as a developer or a designer is something that you have to take on board on a personal level. It's one of those things that you have to keep working on because it's not going to happen overnight and it's not going to happen by itself. You really have to put some time and dedication into it. It's like any other hobby. For example, if you wanted to improve playing piano, for example, you would have to practice. You'd have to practice each day. You'd have to try out new techniques. You'd have to make sure that you research what's a good way to play. And in the same way, when you're doing design and when you're doing development, you need to improve by essentially practicing what you do. This means spending some time each day learning about what's happening in the industry. For example, in development, if it's JavaScript, you should be working on what's happening in JavaScript on maybe ES5, ES6, or the latest ES level. You have to make sure that you're learning your CSS. So that's testing out how margins and paddings work and essentially how the whole system works if you're trying to do different types of designs. There's a really cool challenge out there called the Front-End Mentor, which essentially lets you practice doing different website designs. You can post up how you've done them and you can actually review them against other people as well because everyone has their own way to develop. But the Front-End Mentor challenge is really cool because it helps you fine-tune your own skills and improve as well. It's a good example of how practice makes perfect. As a designer, this is the same thing. You need to really focus in on having a look at what the current trends are. If it's in design, then I usually like jumping onto Dribbble. It's a website that essentially has the latest trends that are happening, with designers constantly putting out new formats and new designs on there. I usually get a lot of inspiration on there, but it's not good enough just to jump on there and have a look. It's really important to be able to open up Photoshop or Sketch or Adobe XD and start experimenting and playing with your own designs. You can get some inspiration from Dribbble, maybe you saw some really cool shadow effects. But taking that to the next level is essentially trying to make those yourself. It's jumping into XD and creating those box shadows, creating those hover effects, and making sure that when time comes, you'll be able to implement them yourselves and show them off too. In terms of the layouts as well, there's lots of different things coming out. A lot of people already know and love Bootstrap, and it's been around for a long time, so people already understand how column design works. But there are new things out there like Tailwind CSS, which is really cool. I'm going to be looking at that in the future because I haven't even seen it before, but it looks like a really cool way to do designs where you're not essentially building out components. You're just using CSS with CSS class names, I think it is, inside classes, which is a different way of doing things. But the same principles apply. It's essentially making sure that you keep learning because when you do, you keep improving yourself. And that's the core of being a better developer. With development and design, things constantly change. It's not like being a plumber or a mechanic. You can't just learn all the skills and that's it. You repeat them for the rest of your life. At the same time, that's the interesting part about it. When you're learning development and design, then it seems like a whole new world. But this whole new world changes every single year, so you really have to keep up with what's happening. If you don't feel comfortable with that, then it's obviously okay to take a break. But next time you come back, things might have changed, so you'll need to relearn what's going on. I've been caught out of guard by React, for example. I learned React quite a while ago, almost 3 or 4 years ago now. And I used to use a lot of class components because they just got released. I thought I was at the forefront of what's happening. And yet now React has moved on as well. It's now using hooks and it's using functionless components, which is pretty cool. But again, I haven't learned how to do them properly. So I'm going to have to relearn how to do this so that I can stay up to date. In terms of design, when I used to do things, they didn't even have flat UI, and they just had borders around everything. Flat UI came out, and I've had to just recently learn how to implement that so that my designs look a little bit more crisp. But already that's moved on again, and now you have lightly shadowed elements with neomorphism. And essentially, we're going to be moving on to something completely new in the future as well. So it's really being able to make sure that you're always on the horizon and looking what's coming up. Anyway, my name's Adrian. I do videos around design and development. So if you do like this kind of content and you want to see more like it, hit like and subscribe. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.